Welcome to the Great American Collectible Show, seen Wednesdays on the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page and the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by the National Sports Collectors Convention and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all your hobby news, features, and more, go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now your host, Tom Zappola, and Red Sox Hall of Famer, Rico Petrocelli.
Hello there.
How are you?
Oh, not bad. How you doing, Tom? Celtics, see?
Celtics, baby.
The biggest front runner you have ever seen.
Celtics, baby. That's my team.
See, used to wear Patriot stuff, right? Nah, that's gone now.
Red Sox before them.
Red Sox before them, last place. I mean, all right.
Celtics, baby.
Celtics, yeah, they're good.
They got a great
very
team.
good.
This team, I predict, is going to be better than the 86 team.
All right, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm telling you, this is a great team. Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. Tom Zappola and my good friend and partner, Red Sox Hall of Famer, Rico Petrocelli. Remember, you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, or listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also listen to us on 980 WCAP up here in the Boston area. We have a great show today, Rick. We've got our good friend Mike Hefner from Lelands. There's one item we're going to talk about. One
Really?
item.
Only one item?
No, we're going to talk about his whole auction, but there's one
that's what I mean.
we're going to extract and talk about.
Well, that's wonderful.
And then we also have Tom Ruggie from Destiny Family
of
Office.
course, Tom.
Tom,
good friend.
He's a great guy, and we hop on this all the time.
You what?
Hop.
Hop. Who's hopping?
Hop.
We mean H-O-P?
H-A-R-P.
Oh, harp on this.
All the time. Excuse me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you laughing?
Yes, I am.
Gonna hop.
On your investment portfolio,
Yeah.
your collection, and Tom's got some great tips on what possibly to do with it. But first, our headline. Figure card, REA to offer the 1914 Baltimore News Babe Ruth in an upcoming auction. Only one of 10 known copies of Babe Ruth's first trading card is coming to auction this month and could sell for $10 million or more. Robert Edward Auctions says it's going to sell the SGC 3 example of the 1914 Baltimore News issue in its fall catalog auction set to open on November 17th. I'm not going to get into the specifics.
All right.
Only know that it's only one of 10 copies of Ruth's first trading card. It's a gorgeous card, and Brian Dwyer is going to be our guest next week on the show. We're going to talk about this.
You and John. But you said it's one of 10. Where's the other 9?
This one came out of this one. I don't know, but this one a lot of private collectors have. But I think this one came out of the Baltimore.
I mean, somebody has them.
I think this one came out of the Babe Ruth Museum in Baltimore.
Anyway,
for more information, you can go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. Our good friend Rich Miller and the gang at sportscollectorsdaily.com to learn about the card. All right, let's bring in our good pal, just a great guy. Looks good, man. Look at him. What a handsome guy, you know? Mike Hefner from Lelands. How are you, Michael?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. What's going on? First of all, you look great. How's the child doing?
Oh, very, very well. Very well. Thankfully, he's everyone says he's cute, and thankfully he takes after his mom. So,
is he keeping you up a little bit at night
all
still?
Good. Keeping me awake at night.
It is. It's all good, though. Just think of how much younger he's making you. Right?
Oh, that's the absolute truth. I mean, I feel like I'm 54 now. I feel like I'm 34. So
awesome.
It's a blessing.
54.
We want to get into.
My age.
We're going to get into a lot of different topics today because you're one of the few guys. You know, we talk about this all the time. You're one of the few guests that we have on. You know, and I can tell you, like Joe Orlando, yourself, Derek, Joe Tomasulo, Brian Dwyer, that we can really talk about anything, and you guys are not afraid to give your opinion or chat about a specific topic. So we're going to be all over the place today, but I want to talk about the auction. You've got an auction that's in progress right now, and you've got some great stuff. I'd like to know about the 33 Worldwide Gum Garrick that's signed. Can you tell us a little bit about that card, man? That is an awesome card.
To the best of my knowledge, it's pretty fresh. I think it may have been an auction many years ago, but it's a beautiful looking card. The signature's beautiful. It's the only one known. It's the only one. I shouldn't say known. It's the only one graded. We don't know if there's another known or not, but it's the only one to ever run through PSA. So anybody who needs, is putting together a run of Gehrig cards, which is nearly impossible to do, signed, would need this card. Typically the worldwide gum is not worth as much. In this case, the worldwide gum is worth more because it's the only one that's known signed. So it's a terrific looking card. The card isn't graded, but it is a terrific looking card.
Awesome.
What do you mean by gum? Worldwide gum? Is there gum in there, or is it a gum card, or is it?
No, it's a candy card. No. Can you explain the Worldwide Gum series? Explain the Worldwide Gum series, Hef.
Oh, we know,
Well,
but
the worldwide gum was all baseball cards or most baseball cards in the 30s came with gum or candy or some sort of favor for the children.
Yeah.
So that was something to entice them to collect the cards, the gum inside.
Yep.
So Worldwide Gum is just a company that produced gum, but they put cards in their gum packs.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's good because I used to buy them as a kid
And
with the
eat the
gum.
gum.
Yeah, the gum. It was like gigantic in your mouth.
Well, you do remember what happened once in the studio.
Oh no! Don't say anything about that.
Hef.
Come on.
So
see,
we had Leighton in the studio with us at the old radio station, and on camera, and he brought in a 1956 Topps pack, cello pack, and decided that we were going to open it on the air, and he was going to have like a break. So Rico was sitting next to me, and he breaks open the pack, and what do you think Rico does? He grabs the gum, shoves it in his mouth, and starts chewing it.
Wow, that's what I used to do as a kid. So I see the gum, boom.
We have it on camera. I got to dig that out. You should have
disgusting.
seen the look on his face as he was chewing it. And you literally, I remember, there was a garbage pail in the corner. He jumped out of his seat and you spit it all into the garbage pail.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, it was a mold, probably a mole in there.
It was mold.
Last time, it's better than last time. Last time we opened a pack with Rico, he ate the card. So at least he ate the gum that time.
I was hungry, you gotta take what you can get.
So we've done a little investigating, and with the help of Mr. Petroselli, we have an image of a bat that is in your auction, and there it is. I know you can't see it, but our audience is looking at it right now. And the description says that it's a 1976 U215. Is that what it is?
215, W215.
A W215.
Ted Williams model.
Ted Williams model, game-used Rico Petroselli bat from his last season playing from the Red Sox. Now,
That was probably my last bat. Period.
Right. So Rico, after investigating it, has pretty much determined that bat is, in fact, the last bat that he used as a professional ball player. So we thought that we would share that information with you because your description says it could be, but after, I guess you could tell from the pine tar.
Oh, yeah, no, I could. That was a beautiful bat, and Ted Williams model. I thought maybe it was something to rub off, but it didn't. But, that was I loved that bat. Yaz used to use it, too. W215.
Your thoughts, Hef?
What makes you think, Rico, that it is the last? Is it just the look of the bat? You remember the bat?
Yeah, I know the model. I know what I was hitting because part of that year I was out. I had gotten hit in the head the year before. It's so funny.
I remember that. I don't mean to laugh.
And I had some
issues.
Yeah, no,
balance
equilibrium issues. So I didn't play the whole year. And I remember when I finally got in there from taking medication, that was the bat.
And that was at the end.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that was it.
How about the pine tar? Why don't you use the pine tar like George Brett all the way up to the?
No, the pine tar. I used pine tar. We didn't use the gloves. We didn't have the gloves, and because I used that because my wife liked the smell of it when I got home. She was sick, poor girl. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Let's talk about for a minute. Let's talk about.
That was a good bad look.
See, you know what's happening here? You guys are both going to force me to bid on that freaking bat tonight. I'm just telling you right now. Because he's going to put the arm on me to get the bat for him and his collection. That's what's going to wind up happening here.
That'd be nice.
It would make an excellent Christmas gift, Tom.
I know that. And
I love bats. I love the bat. I love cards, everything.
Let's talk about the statistics behind the bat.
It's not. That's not.
What kind of a season did you have in '76?
That was my last year, and like I said, I was out part of the season because of the problem. Butch Hobson was ready. He had a great year in AAA, and they had brought him up. So he and I were kind of, going back and forth. And
Zimmer gave you the word.
Yeah, it was spring training. The next spring training, yeah.
So you finished out the season.
Yeah,
but you didn't have that many at bats that season, or did you?
Not
couple hundred.
Yeah, a couple hundred at bats. Yeah, that's why I know. Pretty much in spring training we had different bats, and so that's man, I like
cool
that.
Bat.
I keep
now,
looking.
How does a bat like that get into the public, Rick?
Somebody
jump
steals
in here,
it,
please. I mean, can I ask you? Did you guys get it from a private consignor, Mike? Or do you know?
It came from a consignment, but I don't know the history. I don't know the exact history on it. But yeah, that's an interesting question. Like, how did the bats weren't, especially if they were cracked. I'm not sure if that one's cracked or not. I mean, they were thrown in the garbage back then if they were cracked.
But that isn't.
How many bats do you think you used that season, Rico?
I don't know, not that many because I didn't play as much.
And you used a different bat before you got hurt.
Yeah, right. I used to use a U1, a big handle, no knob bat, and then that didn't feel good, so I went back to the W215, and didn't use that many bats.
And that was towards the end of the season.
Yeah. The W215s, absolutely. That's why I'm saying that's probably the last bat, and I bet it's not cracked.
So how does a bat like that get into the public?
Okay, so at the end of the year, we leave everything, of course. Your uniforms, your bats, they put them back. So somebody
grabs one.
Maybe somebody grabs one and gives it or whatever to somebody. And it goes around, and it eventually ends up with maybe, somebody that wants to
Could you have taken that bat if you wanted to home? At the end of the season?
We didn't think of it. I'll tell you the truth. Maybe I could have. I probably could have, but I didn't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You paid for your own bats, right, Rico?
No. We got free. Red Sox were good. Oakland A's, you had to. You broke a bat. You had to give it in to get another bat.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, Billy Koenig was telling us about that.
But the Red Sox were good?
Red Sox, yeah. You don't know, because, Yaz ordered bats every other week.
Well, anyways, that's the story behind the bat. Interesting, very, very interesting. All right, Mike Hefner from Lelands is in studio with us. We are now going to talk about. I'm losing my mind, man.
Oh, lost it.
It's time for our segment On Deck with Rico.
Even though he's from New York, we still love him.
Shut up.
On Deck with Rico Patricelli.
Who's that kid?
He said, even though you're from New York.
That's Dave's. Yeah, but
one of Dave's grandkids.
New York.
All right, it's time for our segment On Deck with Rico, brought to us each week by our good friend Brian Dwyer and the great staff at REA Auctions.
Yeah.
Don't forget to get your bid in by going to robertedwardauctions.com. That's Robert Edward Auctions for extraordinary results and extraordinary service. And don't forget that Babe Ruth card. All right, this week's question was submitted by a very dear friend of the show from Florida. He used to be called Staten Island Joe Marino, but now he's called North Palm Beach Joe Marino.
Yeah.
And here's his question. Rico,
Yeah?
being a diehard Yankee fan.
Me?
No, him.
Oh.
I personally loved Whitey Ford, Mel Stottlemyre, and Jim Bouton. Your thoughts on the three pitchers?
Oh, I love Stottlemyre. I really loved him. All right, so let me get set. Whitey Ford was a pitcher. You know what I mean? Now you see all these kids throwing 95, 97, 98. They're throwers. You know what I mean? This guy could hit the corners, change speeds, sneaky fastball, just a great fielder and a class guy. I got 2 hits off him, I think the first or second time. And George Scott hit one, I'll tell you about that, about 900 miles off him. But anyway, that was kind of his last couple of years. Great guy, was a great pitcher. Mel Stottlemyre, fortunately, when he first came up, they still had the big guns there, Mantle and all them, and he had some great years. Then they stunk. I mean, after
they were pretty bad.
They were bad, and then he had maybe a 500, but he was a classy guy, one of the classiest pitchers. If you hit him, you knocked him around, you never see him moaning, groaning, throwing the glove. And then when he had his good days, it was the same.
Same thing.
Yeah, so it was not like if you got a bunch of hits off of me, throw at your head. No, he was a classy guy. Bouton was a really good.
Bouton.
Yeah, Bouton. Of course, his book, everybody hated him. But the book, he was a good pitcher? He was a pretty good pitcher for 1 or 2 years, well, a couple of years. But
he was out there a little bit.
Yeah. He's a bright guy. He was a bright guy. I mean, and he wrote the book, couple of books, and he did very well.
Bestseller.
Yeah.
Everybody read that book.
But
that's like one of the
pitching
Bibles.
wise, he had some good. Yeah, he wasn't tough or overpowering. You can make contact.
So Whitey obviously was the best.
Whitey was a great pitcher. People don't really. He's a Hall of Famer.
Just real quickly on Jim Bouton. When our first book came out, the T206 collection, we did a book signing down in Hartford, Connecticut at one of those vintage baseball tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
He was pitching for a team. He was 74 years old. 73 years old.
Ford?
No, Jim Bouton.
Oh, yeah.
And he was throwing knuckleballs, and they couldn't touch him. Couldn't touch him. Very interesting. All right, Hef, let's get back to the auction. A National Association team cards. Tell us about those bad boys.
That's a really interesting story because just how they were discovered. They were recently discovered. The woman who consigned them bought them in a bookshop some decade or so ago. She wasn't a baseball collector. She just liked old photography. So she bought this album, and the album contained these cards. It was only recently that she even realized, because most of the players aren't in uniform, that they were baseball players. So this thing was not known until about 6 months ago. This thing was not even known to exist. A lot of those CDVs in there, carte de visite, I can't even say it. CDVs will say in there have not been ever seen before.
Wow.
And the ones that have been seen before, there's only 1 or 2 examples of each known. So this is a monumental discovery when it comes to 19th century baseball.
Good to know.
Yeah. I read a lot of National Association.
That's good stuff.
They were the big guys. But anyway, I want to ask you about signed cards. We're talking about that because I recall when I played, the kids wanted you to sign cards, but, I don't think they were that popular.
People frowned upon them, didn't they, Hef, at the beginning?
Signed cards?
I mean, collectors.
Signed cards were really, signed cards are so rare because typically back in the day, people wanted you to sign their program. They didn't necessarily carry a card of Rico to Fenway Park for him to sign. They would have a program in hand. Maybe they'd have a publicity photo that they bought at the souvenir stand. So signed cards are actually pretty rare. People send out signed cards. I don't know if you ever received a packet in the mail of things to sign Rico and somebody included cards. but they are rare because it was also, like you said, Tom, it was frowned upon because it was believed then that putting ink on a card devalued it. So people would always prefer to get something other than a card signed. And just until recently, it was a Hank Aaron card, rookie card signed by Hank Aaron was almost frowned upon because the value of the card unsigned was so much more.
Wow.
Now we're realizing that the value of the card is signed, because it's so much rarer than just a regular card. The value is so much more because it's so much rarer.
But the players of today, it's tough to get their autograph. A lot of them won't sign because maybe they think they're going to sell them. Probably.
Well,
right?
I think that's part of the thing now.
I mean, it's tough to get them.
A lot of the signed cards by the kids today, that's all done by design through the card company, correct? Mm-hmm. So it's all done through the card company.
Yes, yes, that's done by the card company, and some of those cards aren't even signed on the card. Those are stickers that the player signed, in mass, and then they put it on the card.
Yeah.
All right, listen, Mike Hefner's in the studio, not in the studio, but he's on the show with us today. Mike Hefner from Lelands, you're going to be with us for the whole hour. Later on, we have
great.
Tom Ruggie. I love saying Ruggie, but it's Tom Ruggie from Destiny Family Office. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's going to be another Gax moment. Hang in there, we'll be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, mile high. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, it is time for another GAX moment, brought to us each week by our good friend Paul Borges and PB Collectibles, your neighborhood card shop. Go to pbcollectibles.com to find that special card or piece of memorabilia. When Ellen and I wrote this book, The 100 Greatest Baseball Autographs, along with our good friend Joe Orlando, John Mallory, and Steve Grad, there was one player that really piqued my interest. Hall of Famer John Clarkson was one of the most successful pitchers in the early years of the game. Clarkson won 56 games in one season. He had four 40 win seasons and 331 seasons, won 328 games, 2.81 earned run average, 1,900 strikeouts. A phenomenal pitcher for that time period. Obviously, he's in the Hall of Fame. But if you're looking for an authentic autograph of John Clarkson, good luck. Because when he played, very few ball players signed. PSA has never certified a Clarkson autograph and considers it actually the toughest autograph in the hobby to find. Why? After his career ended in 1894, Clarkson had a nervous breakdown and spent the last years of his life in various sanitariums. The last 4 or 5 were spent here in Massachusetts at the McLean Hospital. Here is where it gets a little interesting. McLean, being one of the oldest hospitals in the country, has a records department dating back to 1811. From what we have gathered, they have just about all of their records dating back to 1811 stored in a warehouse. Is it possible that they have one signature of John Clarkson sitting in a cabinet or box somewhere in their archives? If so, according to the hobby experts, the value of that signature would be possibly worth at least $1 million. HIPAA law prevents us from going any further, but if you're a descendant of John Clarkson, you may want to pick up the phone. I did. Spoke to one of the records department people at McLean last week. And in fact, that signature very well could be in a warehouse sitting somewhere. They're intrigued. Obviously, if they do find a signature, it's probably not going to go anywhere. But the fact remains that a signature of John Clarkson may very well exist. And we're going to keep you posted. That's another GAX moment. Okay, we are chatting with our good friend Mike Hefner from Lelands. Mike, I want to talk about grading. I want to talk about PSA, SGC. It seems to me, and I could be wrong, that SGC on vintage cards really is taking a position with the grading, and hobbyists seem to be gravitating towards SGC on the vintage and PSA on the modern. Am I wrong there?
I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason, Tom. I like, obviously have an affiliation with PSA, and I have great friends at SGC, and I think both do a really good job at what they do. Some people might like the holders, the look of the holders better. Some people, it might be a convenience thing. I think they both do a good job. I think SGC on the modern stuff is a little bit behind PSA, and I think they might even tell you that because PSA has been just doing more of that stuff, more quantity, but on the vintage stuff, the SGC stuff is certainly in line with the PSA. The modern, I think PSA has a little bit of an advantage on. But the old stuff, the vintage SGC is right up there.
Really? I find that very, very interesting. Is the modern card market, is it cooling off a little bit versus vintage, or are they running neck and neck, in your opinion? And have you guys increased your modern consignments?
Our modern consignments have actually decreased because the values are down. Everything modern basically has gone down. Anything post 1990, I would say, post 2000 for sure, has gone down in value over the last year. So we anticipated this. The stuff was too high.
Right.
So it adjusted, like all markets do. And now we're doing more vintage again. Before we had a strong presence with the modern, and we still like the modern, but it just come down a little bit.
They will come back. Over the years, they will come back.
Of course, they'll come back.
Well, I mean, so it's.
But you've been touting modern, ultra modern for the last 2 years.
Wait a minute. Yeah, you know why? Because you need these younger people to continue this industry, to keep it going. They'll be collectors when they get a little older, making even more, making some money and being able to buy the vintage maybe.
All right, so Hef, I'm going to ask you this question then, and I think I asked this question to, I think it was Derek or Brian Dwyer a while back. Mm-hmm. So with what Rico is saying about vintage and modern, old judge cards, for some reason, the commons are not as popular or as valuable as, for instance, T205s, T206s. I could be wrong, but overall, as far as interest to the collectors. Going forward, vintage cards like the T205s, T206s, 33 Gaudis, 41 play ball, as the baby boomers like myself kind of fade into the sunset, those cards going to be less attractive to collectors and hobbyists as opposed to cards right now from when they were kids, like the 70s and 80s, the George Bretts, all 50s. Of those cards. Well, the 60s, the 70s.
Yeah, all right.
Are those cards going to become more popular at some point in time as the baby boomers kind of fade into the sunset?
I would say that the turn of the century stuff has come over it's made it over the hump. It's always going to be good because there's such a limited amount of it out there. The newer stuff, the 80s stuff, we're seeing it now.
Yeah.
Ricky Henderson rookies, Tony Gwynn rookies, stuff like that. That stuff is really picked up and it's still pretty hot. But once you get into the 90s, it was just so mass produced. There's so many of them.
That's true.
I don't foresee a big boom on 90s stuff or early 2000s stuff just because so much was made. So, but I think T205s, T206s, old judges will always have a place in the hobby.
Good to know.
I can't believe that the 50s are not more popular than they are.
Well, they are. The 52s and 50s.
Well, the Aarons
right.
and them. I'm talking really.
Are you talking about you're not talking about players. You're talking about like the 56 or 58 tops collection?
52s, 54s.
Well, 52s are very popular.
Yeah, well, 50. That's right.
54s, that's a good example.
54s, yeah. In that area, when Aaron Mays and all these great players.
Rico, but if you isolate those particular players, their cards have a lot of value. But if you take the entire set itself, I kind of agree with you. Hef, is that true? A complete 54 top set has nowhere. Shouldn't it have more interest for the common players, for instance?
I think people have gravitated sort of away from set collecting. There's still people that collect them, and I think it's a great thing. But I think people have gravitated a little bit away from it and going after more rookie cards, second-year cards. The Mickey Mantles, putting together a run of Mickey Mantles, putting together a run of Hank Aaron's instead of collecting that entire 1954 set.
Interesting. When Tom Ruggie comes on, I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to ask this question to both of you. I'm going to ask you the question now. Last week we were talking on the show with JM. I can't remember who the guest was, to be honest with you. Oh, there was Joe Tomasulo. We were talking about a personal portfolio of a collector. And my personal collection, I look at as part of my investment portfolio. It's no different than my 401ks, IRAs, any other investments that we have. I have a pool of money that I have put aside that I use for my collection, and that is part of my investment portfolio. Is there ever going to be a day that we see, like where for instance, a financial advisor will actually advise a collector or a hobbyist to make recommendations and it becomes part of their investment portfolio? Because the return of my investment over the last 30 years has so outpaced, just my regular investments. My return on investment's been off the charts compared to,
especially now with the markets volatile and all that stuff.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Hef?
I think the day is now, Tom. I see it. There are actually funds as we speak being put together that involve sports collectibles, other collectibles. This has already been done with paintings and fine artwork.
Right.
So it's now being done with collectibles. There are funds being put together. So the day is now. This stuff is being used. It's an asset class now. So and I agree with you 100%. Like I never, Lelands has become my hobby and my business has become my collection because I've made more money on my collection than I have on Lelands.
Well, I didn't want to put you on the spot, Hef. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but I was in your house. I was in your home. You were nice enough to invite us in, Ellen and I, and it was jaw-dropping. It was jaw-dropping, your collection. So my question to you is, I would assume that collection is a huge part of your entire portfolio. It has to be.
It always has been. And we're just, I consider myself so blessed. And, I know a lot of other collectors think this way, but boy, how great is it? How many people can actually say that their passion turned into something that made them a lot of money? That's so rare in life to find that, and I am just so blessed. A lot of it was luck, and I'm fortunate and blessed, and I think a lot of other collectors out there probably feel the same.
I would say, Rick, honestly, and he's a friend, his collection is going to be in the top 5 in the country.
Wow, really?
I don't know about that.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other people that are up there that we know about, but I'm saying you're right up there. You're right up there.
It's a nice collection, but I wouldn't put it at that level. I know I don't want to.
Got some goddamn nice electric guitars, by the way.
Thank you.
But would you say most of the guys who run the auctions?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, a few.
He didn't say there.
Joe Orlando doesn't have a massive collection.
I didn't say massive, but they were collectors.
They're all collectors.
Serious collectors.
I know, but I can tell, yes, some of them were, but there are collectors. The guys that we know, other than Mike and maybe one or two others, they're not like Marshall Fogel type collectors. Collectors. They collect like we collect.
Yeah.
But you're not talking massive collections. Hey, Mike.
It's my whole life, that's my whole life in a capsule there. So.
Yeah. Well, it's it's great. Everybody would love to work at something that they love. How many people are, unhappy at their job?
And Hef, you really, your collection really is a reflection of your love of certain things. And I'm going to use your wrestling collection as an example. I walked into a room. He's got the costumes of just about. Is there anybody you don't have? He's got the wrestling costumes of just about.
The old guys?
Every wrestler you can imagine.
No kidding. Wow.
Am I wrong, Hef? It's pretty close.
I get as many as I possibly can. That's my that's my passion. It's greater than baseball right now is wrestling.
And I had the honor of, when I walked into his house, and I have a beautiful picture framed at my home of wearing Randy Macho Man Savage's hat.
No kidding.
And Ellen,
I was going to ask you what
what's your favorite?
It's
a good question.
Thank you.
I think my favorite, and you might be familiar with this. Do you remember Buddy Rogers?
Oh, sure.
Rico?
Yeah.
Does that name ring a bell?
Oh,
Buddy
yeah.
Rogers, I have his only surviving jacket that he wore into the ring. So that's probably my favorite.
So do you
remember him? He had a long long, illustrious career.
Yeah.
I mean, guys like Killer Kowalski or any of those guys
Bruno
back then.
Sammartino?
Yeah, or Sammartino. They just wore wrestling tights, trunks.
Yeah.
Do you have any of those?
Oh, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I do have a lot of those.
Yeah,
I have several complete outfits from Killer Kowalski. He wore the tights and the trunks over the tights, and also wore,
awesome.
sometimes
That's
wear
awesome.
a vest, of some sort. So yeah,
great stuff. That's great.
It is. That's
Yeah, we are going to do, once we get to Florida, we are definitely going to do another wrestling show, Mike, because we got so many responses from viewers.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. We just brought back a lot of memories.
Look at the shows on TV. The places are packed.
I know. They still
They're
are.
packed. I mean, wow, this is, it's incredible.
All right, Hef, I've asked everybody the question over the last 5 or 6 weeks. What do you, again, I have personal feelings about this. I use the word influences. Everybody, that the word influences is a hot topic right now. And I go on YouTube and I see influencers making recommendations to hobbyists about what cards to buy, what cards not to buy. Some of these influencers have, 500,000 hits. I suspect that some of these influencers are on the payrolls of some of the big companies and are kind of trying to manipulate the market. Do you think there's any truth to that, in your opinion?
I think there's 100% truth in that. And I think some of the influencers are actually hoarding a lot of the things that they're pushing. So I guess the moral of the story, Tom, is don't listen to all the influencers.
Exactly.
It's just like the old days to shop at home. If you bought stuff at shop at home, most likely you're sitting on a pile of junk. So
I have a grandson.
I'm not saying all the influencers are pushing junk, but they're pushing stuff and they have a vested interest.
I have a grandson. We have about 2 minutes left before we take a break. I have a grandson who's 10 years old, and he is really into the hobby. He's over the last year collecting modern and ultra-modern cards. And he's on YouTube, and he watches a couple of these guys, and he calls me Nanu. That's the Italian word for grandfather. And he'll say, Nanu, what do you think about this card? And it's pick somebody, a Fernando Tatis signed prism with a dot up in the top left-hand corner of the card, 1 of 1, blah, 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 blah. What do you think? And I say, where did you see it? On YouTube, such and such a person said that we should buy this card. And I've said, Johnny, listen to me very closely. Don't watch those shows and don't pay attention to those guys. That's what I'm trying to drum into his head, because I think it's a real slap in the face to the hobby. I could be wrong, and I know there are probably some influencers out there that are actually legit and really have a love for the hobby, but I think there's some unsavory characters out there. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Tom Ruggie is going to be joining us. I want you to meet Tom, Mike, because I think you guys have a lot in common. We're going to talk about the investment part of collecting, and then we're going to get back into your auction. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Lelands Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Lelands was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on their tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Lelands has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Lelands, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Hey, I'm Mike Petroselli. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Petroselli Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Petroselli Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Petroselli Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@petrosellimkt.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Petroselli Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
Hey, for the best on-time service and new ideas for your next project, give Petroselli Marketing Group a call. It's actually at 800-264-4294, or go to their website at petrosellimkt.com. I have clients all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. They will get the stuff from you on time.
Wheatland Auction Services has another great auction opening for bidding. Join in and celebrate Wheatland's end-of-year auction, offering more than 860 lots of vintage and current sports card and memorabilia lots, just in time for the holidays. A great selection of graded rookie cards from all sports, including 55 Colfax, 55 Clemente, graded rookie cards including Stan Musial, Ernie Banks, Hank Aaron, Bob Gibson, and many more. Mickey Mantle and Jackie Robinson highlight the vintage cards lots. There is a 1951 Bowman Mantle PSA 3 is going to be is up for auction. Huge selection of autographed baseballs of Williams, Griffey Jr., bunch of them. Current era in-demand sports cards, including 2017 Topps Now, Shohei Ohtani, a BGS 10, 1940s and 80s, up to 1980s vintage complete sets. There's so much more to see. Visit their website at wheatlandauctions.com to view all lots, and the bidding ends on December 3rd.
Yeah. Well, here's another great show. East Coast Sports Marketing and Hunt Auctions are pleased to present the Philadelphia Sports Collectors Show, The Philly Show, from Friday, December 1st to Sunday, December 3rd, held at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center, Hall A&E, 100 Station Avenue, Oaks, Pennsylvania, 19456. Shop their expanded 100,000 square foot show floor with over 250 of your favorite hobby dealer booths of sports collectibles. Heaven, from the 1800s to present day. Major sports auction houses and third-party grading and authentication companies are on hand to assist your collection needs. The Philly Show is family-friendly, and all kids 10 under get in for free. Autographed guests to include Philadelphia's Phillies fan favorite 2008 World Series MVP Cole Hamels. Boy, he was a heck of a pitcher. Eagles greats like Brian Dawkins, Randall Cunningham, Ron Jaworski, Harold Carmichael, and many more. For more information, go to thephillyshow.com. Remember, since 1975, the Philly Show is where it all started.
All right, we have Tom Ruggie in from Destiny Family Office. I think you guys have met. Tom, say hi to Mike. Mike, say hi to Tom. And
hi.
Tom,
Good morning, Mike, and everybody else.
We've been
chatting. Chrissy, say hello to Tom.
Oh, excuse me. We've been chatting, and I don't know if you caught any of our conversation at the past, but recently you made a presentation at a collector's auction, and you have a whole business model of what we talked about regarding investments in the hobby. Why don't you tell us about your talk, and then I want to discuss your scorecard.
Yeah, actually, Tom, the talk was really centered around the scorecard, and where the scorecard came from is my own brainchild of, to your discussions earlier, my personal collection that I used to tell my wife that I was quote unquote investing 10 to 20% of our investable assets into collectibles, but I did that just to kind of get her off my butt for continuing to buy stuff. And although, I did look at it from an investment eye, the recent spike, and I'm going to say the recent being the last 10-year spike in the collectibles industry, to Mike's point, has made my collection a very valuable piece of my overall estate. And as I started thinking about it, being in the wealth management business for over 30 years, I realized I had a problem. I've got a problem of a wife that not only doesn't know anything about my collection, but frankly doesn't care about my collection. My kids don't know anything and don't care. Mm-hmm. And so I started down the path of, what do I need to do to collect, not to collect, but to maintain the integrity of what I've built up? And so if I get hit by the proverbial bus today, make sure that my family has a plan or a place to go to help extract the best value for the collection. And so from that came a scorecard of 10 different areas that I believe I've walked through this entire process myself, still tweaking it and trying to make it better. But it basically is a roadmap of what you should be looking at if you've built up a substantial collection.
I'm going to go through it real quickly. So basically, if I may, this is great. I mean, it really is. It's for people to kind of look at the mindset, and then you can circle where you feel that you fit in. Look at your ideal score, and then Tom will tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. So these are the topics: acquisition, documentation, valuation, insurance protection,
Yeah.
storage, security, family awareness, estate planning, transition via gifts while living and or at death, and sale of collections of the collection while living and or death. Now, Tom, how does the scorecard work to a collector, guy like me? What do I have to do?
Yeah, so the way it was developed mimics a scorecard I have on the wealth management side. And so what the idea is to go through each of those 10 areas and, realistically assess where are you? And, it's a rating scale. It's verbal, as you mentioned, Tom, but it's effectively a rating scale from 1 to 10. And I think in most cases, the idea would be a 10 across the board. And if you currently score yourself a 4 or 5 or a 6 on acquisition, for example, you go through the 10, score where you are today, but then you go back through and score. The way I look at it is if I were sitting here a year from today, realistically, what would I like my score to be? And effectively, it's a gap analysis. So it provides you insight as to, hey, what do I need to do to properly update the valuation of my collection, and can I set myself on a path to do that in the next 12 months? Or is my collection properly insured, which kind of goes hand in hand with valuation, and what do I need to do over the next 12 months so that I handle that? So that's effectively the purpose.
Most collectors probably don't know the things that should be covered, because it's a great idea. Give you a call or go to your website, but
well, no, I was going to ask you though, Tom. Does this whole component is this only geared for people that have multi-million-dollar collections, or how about a guy that has a collection worth a couple of $100,000, $300,000, $400,000? Is he geared for something like this?
I think if it's a meaningful part of somebody's overall net worth, it's all relative, whether you're worth $500,000 or you're worth, $50 million. I think it's all relative. So if you have a couple $100,000 collection and it's a very meaningful part of your net worth, I think the process still makes a lot of sense. I think.
Hey, Hef, what do you?
Actually, go ahead, Rico.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask
Mike,
him,
jump in, by the way, if you have questions.
what your feeling is on it.
Oh, I think it's a great thing Tom has going, because there's a lot of, and it makes me think. It should make all collectors think, because insurance. I just went through something with insurance and realized that I was way underinsured. I have the little one now, and I wonder, what's going to happen when I'm no longer here. So these are all questions that you need to answer before it's too late. So what Tom has going on there is something that people don't like to think about. They don't want to think about, but they have to.
So, Tom, if I have a multi-million-dollar collection, which, by the way, I don't, but if I have a multi-million-dollar collection, and I have a trust already set up, would you help me add this to my trust?
Yes, it's interesting, the kind of the crossroads between my two passions. I mean, collecting has been my passion since I was 7 years old. I'm 55 years old, so been doing it a long time. And of course, I've been in business over 30 years. What I've realized, Tom, as I've gone through this process is there could be some intersection, and I'll just use Mike as an example. I mean, this might be a great tool for Mike, but if I were working with him, there might be some intersection on what I can do on the wealth management side, but that may or may not be there. And so what I've really come to the conclusion of what I've put together and directionally where I'm going is really to be a resource to people and provide resources. So, for example, on the acquisition, we're constantly building a resource guide of, if somebody's looking to acquire things, what are the various auction houses? What are the specialties of those auction houses? What's the contact information? Same with the insurance protection, listing multiple insurance companies. So again, what I'm really looking to do is for whether you've got 200,000 collection or a $200 million collection is to be a resource.
His name is Tom Ruggie, Destiny Family Office. Tom, we've got to get you on as a guest host so we can do an entire show on what you're all about, because I think it would be very, very effective, and I think it'd be just great
Absolutely.
information
It's
for
important.
our hobbyists. Michael,
Yeah,
when
we'll
does
put it down.
your auction end?
This coming Saturday. So people need to start bidding if they haven't bid already.
You guys
This Saturday at 10 o'clock.
You guys are killing me. You're going to make me bid on that bet. You're going to make
Well,
me bid on the damn
I
bet.
give you $50 right now for the bat.
I think it's at around 800 already.
You know something? I'm going to
Kidding.
bid on it.
Oh,
And
my
what we're going to
God.
do is this. I know we have about 30 seconds left. I'm going to bid on the bat. When we get to
Okay.
Florida, we are going to have Rico just promised me during a commercial break, he's going to bring in some memorabilia. I have a couple of pieces of great Red Sox memorabilia. We're going to do a fundraiser, probably at Boston's on the beach,
Yeah,
maybe for
that'd
the
be
Jimmy
great.
Fund or
Well,
a really
something. We'll see.
a nice
Yeah.
organization. We're going to
Right.
do a charity auction. With that being said, Tom, I want
Here's
your promise
guys.
right now that you're going to do a full show with us.
Yes.
I will absolutely do a full show. And Mike, I've got a few bids in your auction. And in fact, I actually had the opportunity to buy the Garrett card from your consigner before he listed it with you. But I certainly hope it goes well. And I will probably bid on that as well. So I'm a big sports card autograph collector. So.
Great.
Good to know. All right,
Hey,
guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Love you guys both. Have
It was
fun.
great. Good show.
Good luck with the auction.
Yeah.
Tom, let's keep in touch. And to our viewers and listeners, thank you so much for the support. We have been overwhelmed. It's been unbelievable.
I know. It's
This
great,
is
people.
year number 8 for us, man.
Wow.
Year number 8. With that being said, again, thanks for your support and
Thank
happy
you.
collecting.
Take care, guys.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.